I'll cut all this out and put it at the front of the episode.
Well,
where
yeah,
it's
I fucking. We've got an exclusive this week, folks. Love it. Podcast has started. Hair's looking meh. Okay.
What do you? What do you do?
Well, same.
Went
Your haircut hasn't. Your hair hasn't changed.
I
in 12 years.
actually legitimately did go to the haircut today.
And you said, "Give me the usual."
I said, "Give me the usual," and that's what they gave.
They're like,
It's actually quite
you want
different.
us to leave it.
If you saw me at 9:59 versus at 11:51 when I walked out, you would have been shocked at the difference.
I would like to be shocked by some difference with your appearance. I like it when you grow a thicker beard. I like it when you change. I mean, I would like you to change your hairstyle once in a while.
This is actually
keep
quite
it fresh. This
is actually quite a radical shave as well. This is quite low. It's quite clean shaven for me.
I like the fuller. I'd like to see you go long hair, long beard.
Okay. No pleasing you today.
Look,
I really thought this was going to be a startling new look for me. But that's
no,
okay.
you didn't.
I thought you were going to go, "Oof, you got that's tight." Are you going for the role of James Bond? Because you look sharp. You look like you've shaved a little bit, but like in a Daniel Craigy kind of stubbly way. Your hair's tight and tidy. You're ready.
Yeah, except look, apart looks aside, which you've obviously nailed.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to give it to just another straight white guy. So
It's true.
I'm sorry, but
It's true. The woke
you're
brigade,
not right for the part.
the
Here we go
broccoli
again.
family, they're just
They're gonna have to. The next Bond's gonna be black trans woman.
and I embrace it. You don't care about Doctor Who, but Doctor Who has been around for 50 years and has
Doctor Who?
Yeah, Doctor Who has been around for 50 years, and
Didn't get the joke.
It's a very very old joke. Joke's generous. They've been 13 white men in a row, and then they cast a woman as the Doctor this time, which is, new and cool and everything, and then they recently doubled down by making the next Doctor a black woman, and I just respect them going to all the people who got through a tanty and said the Doctor can't be a woman, that they just doubled down. They're like, well, now she's a woman and also she's black. If you keep pressing, it'll be black trans woman next, and then we'll just keep ticking off minorities.
Yeah, I mean, with something like Doctor Who, and I guess it's like the same as James Bond. Like, these are fictional characters, so you can do the franchise with it whatever you want, as long as you don't like make it so obvious that you're like, it's Jane Bond, or call them James Bond still, even though it's like a black woman.
Well, they do that. Have you seen the latest Bond movie?
No, is it out?
Yeah, No Time to Die.
We only just got movies back here, so
right? Of course, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it's been out for a little while. Okay.
Oh
no. It's not spoiler town here, so don't worry if you haven't seen it, everyone. But there is another 007 in the film. He's off, he's done. At the start of the movie, he's on holidays, and they're like, okay, 007, in you go, and it's a black woman. So it's not James Bond, but they gave the number, right? If you're not working there, that number's up for grabs.
Is that at the end?
No, it's right from the start.
A hint for...
No.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
so they're setting up for something.
Daniel Craig, that character he's off the force, he's done, he's on retirement, it's over. And so they just gave the number to someone else. They're like, here's the new 007. It's like a black woman. And you're like, okay. That's fair. I mean, it's a number, it's not a character, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like, it doesn't matter, and I guess you got to change with the times. But I also feel like with this, like, Ghostbusters and Ocean's 11's, like, all-female recast, like, just... I mean, it's almost more insulting just to make it... Here it is again with women, and it tanks at the box office. Just make better roles for women from the start. Like, don't try and, like, give them... don't try and flip it and give them building on existing franchises or existing stories. Just let's move forward by giving women better roles and having all women casts. You know, Bridesmaids is a great example of that. The Bridesmaids is one of the funniest movies in the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I also
But I
don't
think
think
that
it's a
that would
problem.
be funnier with. I think for that example, I think that specific example would be funnier with all men. That is
Yeah,
that's the exception to the
that's the
rule.
exception. It should be bridesmen.
Bridesmen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was open-minded about the Ghostbusters thing because I sort of see it the same way I see a book adaptation, right? Like if you go and see Harry Potter 5 or whatever, or you go and watch the Lord of the Rings movies and it doesn't quite do it justice, or you watch the Netflix series and it doesn't live up to the book. The book's still there. Like, it doesn't change the fact that you had this thing previously.
No.
So I guess I'm the same way when it comes to that reboot thing or the recast. It can feel a little forced, and I think the Ghostbusters movie wasn't hugely successful, but I also don't care that they tried. Like, the original Ghostbusters are there, and to be honest, they're fine.
It does.
Like, I don't know if
It
you've
doesn't take
revisited
anything away
Ghostbusters.
from the original.
Exactly.
But do you feel that about? Or maybe you just said this. Did you say Lord of the Rings before?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it? If they make a sequel to a movie that you love, does it really take away anything? No, it doesn't. Like, the movie still exists, but I guess it's like this feeling that it was like this purity thing. Like, this was pure, and then the sequel kind of changes it. But then if you look at like The Lion King or Dumb and Dumber, they had sequels that were very, very smelly, and those things
just
still
people
live on.
exactly.
Everyone's just
People
like The
ignore
Lion
it.
King, and then it's like The Lion King.
But I mean,
2.
and
Like,
the
no
other
one
thing,
talks
like,
about The Lion King 2.
there was a Ghostbusters like TV show that it's already been franchised, so it doesn't really like. There's a certain that's why it feels a little bit misogynistic when you have people up in arms about the Ghostbusters reboot, because like, well, they've already kind of hoarded out anyway, right? Like, why is it this one that's the one that's really offensive? Well,
I think to me it just feels. I mean, this is not the point that those people are making, but to me it feels like insulting to women that they have to do like a ladies version, where the beauty of that movie Ghostbusters was the chemistry between three guys who were really good friends, came up with this idea themselves. I might be getting the history of this completely wrong, but I thought it was like a SNL sketch. Maybe I think everything's an SNL sketch.
It was created by Dan Aykroyd though, but like they did a Ghostbusters TV show. They did, in fact, 3 Ghostbusters TV shows. Like, it's not some pure thing. There were video games and comic books and novels and pinball machines and things. It's like there is a whiff of like, okay, is your only issue with them commercializing this franchise or this IP when it comes back with women? Like, were you not up in arms about the pinball machine and the TV show?
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's the women thing. It's not. I don't think it's misogynistic.
So if they did a new Ghostbusters in 2016,
which they are,
which they have, Ghostbusters Afterlife,
is that with Jason Reitman doing it?
Yeah.
Who is Ivan Reitman's son, who did the original Ghostbusters.
But like, if and to be fair, they're not doing the same setup of like it's sort of a.
Oh, okay.
Like, it is set in the universe and it's sort of a sequel, I think, but it's also that like the kids in this realm, and like it's like taking a stab at this world from a different angle, right? But if they had done the reboot in 2016 with a cast of 4 comedians, if it was basically Jumanji and it's like, here's The Rock, here's Kevin Hart, here's Jack Black, we're doing Ghostbusters again, I don't reckon people would have kicked up a shit about it. Right? Like, not in the same way.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, like, they did the same thing with Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
By the way, the George Clooney one was a remake in itself.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, when it just kind of reeks, when it just feels like complete pandering, then it's like,
That's
come
fair.
on.
Yeah, that's fair. If it feels like a cash grab, I think that's a justified kind of thing. But
Which it was a cash grab because, as everyone knows, you have to pay women 10% less.
yeah,
So
they're just making more. Yeah,
they're selling less tickets though, because who wants to see?
Dumb. Welcome to Deep 4, everyone. Another podcast, another week. We're in November. Can you believe it? I can't quite believe it, but I hope that you are doing well. This is a podcast we talk to each other through the means of Skype for the benefit of the children. Sitting through the internet with me, Michael. Hello.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. Oh, wow. That's really touching.
They just kind of slipped out.
Yeah. But I'll always remember it.
Why did you stop?
Well, I just thought that you were going to go somewhere. I was just giving you space. But no, you didn't have anything.
No.
So how's life? How's things? In short?
Hello. Sorry?
In short. Keep
Wearing
it short.
Shorts?
Keep it snappy. Don't have all day.
Yeah, it's good. I've had a weird couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Moved house.
Yeah.
But it's gone back to work full time.
Yeah.
Actually on site.
Back in the office.
Fun. Doing lots of walking. Feeling fit.
Did all of your colleagues recognize you through the
Nice, very cryptic, Nick.
Through the glass?
It's funny that we be cryptic about my job when we only have 7 listeners and they all
know where it is.
Friends with them, and they all know where it is. I guess
I've also just gone about telling everyone as well.
Yeah,
there are a lot of people here that do know.
Yeah, no, they didn't recognize me.
No.
No, they didn't. You feel like you build a special bond with your colleagues.
Yeah.
And you feel like they see you as something special.
Yeah.
But they don't. You're just another guy.
Transient guy.
Staring at them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, drinking a coffee and making funny faces.
Exactly. Exactly. You get it.
I get it. We all get it.
Work.
I've been to your work.
And you? How are you?
It feels very contrived.
Tell me.
It feels insincere. It's like you don't actually want to know.
No, I don't. But I'm recording audio right now, so
that's the name.
More dead air if I don't say anything.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I'm doing pretty well. It's been 7 or 8 weeks now of straight writing for Good Grief Season 2, progressing at a fairly rapid pace. We are now writing the 6th and final episode of this second season, so that's probably a good 200 pages we've written now, and still going, and full-time Skyping, which is a bit draining, but yeah, not too bad really.
So that's just you're writing drafts, and then you go into rewrites after that.
Absolutely, yeah. So these are all first drafts, and then we'll go back through, do another bunch of hopefully with fresh eyes, just smoothing out some things that we've got notes on from the network, and punching up some jokes, and just try and make them as good as we can over the next month or 6 weeks or so, and then it'll have to be done.
Wow.
Theoretically, we are filming in January.
Oh God, it happens so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I got to tell you this zinger that was laid on me. It relates to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend Dave Stewart, shout out to Dave. We were talking the other day. We were talking about starting up some project, and I was expressing some hesitancy with regards to his idea. And he came back to me viciously and said, "Yeah, fine. Or how about we just do this instead? We can just start a podcast together, and we'll just wait for the other guy to get famous." referring to you.
Wow.
With your Good Grief success.
Well,
so,
thank you, Dave. That's very flattering. Yeah. And that would have stung, I bet.
I mean, for you.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I was taken aback. He's not known as like a funny guy, which made it worse in a way.
Yeah.
But it stung.
That's
like,
how
it
you know
stung,
it
but
was
in a way
true.
that I respected the joke so much that
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. I have to respect this.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But yeah, I guess you're the famous guy of the podcast.
Oh, well, I've always thought of myself as the famous guy of the podcast, so
I haven't.
you've thought you were
I tell you that right now.
the...
I tell you that right now.
We're just going to have a bit of a ramble this FA. Nothing.
I reckon,
Nothing.
Yeah, Hey. Shut up.
Okay.
Fake accent. Sorry.
Did you have something that you said you wanted to talk about death, which is a little bit morbid, but is that something you actually care about?
Well, I've just been thinking about death a lot lately, and I wonder, usually when I think about things a lot, I wonder if you've thought about them,
Yeah.
And I just wondered if you were afraid of dying, or is death something that you think about a lot, or are you worried? Are you scared in your day-to-day life that some like you'll get into an accident or something? Do you think about death?
I mean, I'm writing a TV show called Good Grief that's set in a funeral home, and I do that 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I would say it comes up. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you really think about it happening to you?
I do think
and
about
also,
it.
does the writing of the television show make it like you get a dissociation with it at that point as well?
No, because it is so abstract. Like, to be honest, that when you're writing it in the TV show context, you are seeing it through a lens of story and of jokes. So it's not like you're definitely thinking about it because you're thinking through very specific aspects of character stuff. You're writing characters who've lost something. You're trying to work out what their motivations are. You're trying to work out the way they're responding to grief. You're trying to work out what they might have prepared or planned or wanted. And all of that is very granular sort of things. Like, what kind of funeral do you want? Would they want to be embalmed? Would they want to be buried? Would they want to be cremated? Like, those are all very death related questions, but it's not, it's abstract, as I was saying. And so you can't help sometimes but bring your own, considerations to those kind of questions and those kind of characters, and vice versa. When you're talking about those sort of things, you can't help but then think about it yourself as it relates to your own life. But
so what do you think about?
I mean, I do, it does, I am afraid of dying, but I'm afraid of dying now. Like, I think conceptually I'm okay with the dying at like age 85, but I'm not ready to go now. So that side scares me, like, because it is random out there and I don't want to like get hit by a car or find out I have a disease or something like that. Because there's a lot that I'd like to still do. So that part I do think about. And then other stuff like, sorry, I'll go.
But is it the fear of? Did you say sorry? I'll go.
Yeah.
But is it the fear of not being around anymore, or is it the fear of something bad happening?
Sorry,
are you afraid of pain?
Well, yeah.
Are you afraid of pain, or are you afraid of not being around?
It is more the latter. It's more the not being around. Like, there is the existential horror side of it, where it's like, what does it even mean to not be consciousness anymore? And that is still kind of deep and trippy, and unsettling. But the sort of practical stuff that comes out of it is, I've thought for a while, like, oh, I should really have a will by now, shouldn't I? Like, I should probably have a will now that I'm in my 30s and vaguely have assets and goals and that sort of stuff. So those kind of things.
Well, you've got a KC, so I don't know why you're hung up on the name thing. All right. Just insert some crickets.
Okay, cool.
Or a tumbleweed.
I actually have both of those sound effects already saved from previous.
Just layer them, harmony. From previous
failures.
Okay, mister.
And I'll put in a clown horn as well, just for like Just,
Why
just
not?
for why not? No, if we're doing sound effects, you might as well.
But the whole board of it.
Honk, honk. I don't know why I
That's
need to
pretty
keep them.
good.
Yeah, I don't need to. Tig Notaro does an amazing clown horn. Have you
That's
seen that?
funny.
It's very good. It
No.
is truly incredible to hear how accurate a clown horn, Tig Notaro's clown horn
I
is.
gotta say, I do love the Tig Notaro.
She's
She's
fantastic.
very funny.
She's great.
She really gels with my sensibilities.
Yeah.
She's
I
very
need to
funny.
watch One Mississippi, which was her sort of better things, her own semi-drama comedy kind of series, but I haven't got around to it.
Oh, okay.
So yes, tell me, what about you? Do you think about the death side of it very much?
Literally think about death every day. I just think about I'm constantly aware of the fact that life is precious. I mean, everyone kind of knows that, but I don't think people really understand it. Like the way we act in our day-to-day lives does not line up with the actual absurdity of life, the actual absurdity of the fact that out of all of time, from the Big Bang, even before the Big Bang, why not, till infinity the other way, what are the chances that you and I right now are having this conversation? It just boggles my mind. I literally cannot get over it. I mean, I know that our brains aren't built to process vast periods
Infinity.
of time
Yeah.
or even an infinity. But
Infinity in my head is roughly like a million. Do you know what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
when we talk about infinity, I'm just vaguely thinking it's around a million. Which is so.
Well, that means you're smart, because for me it's like 150,000.
Yeah.
Beyond that point, I'm like,
I don't know. Where does it
it's a
go
million.
next?
That's 160,000.
Yeah.
But then I also think about, what if I was a lesser quote unquote being? What if I was a squirrel? What if I was an ant? And I can't wrap my head around the fact that we are separate entities of consciousness, and we're existing at the same time. Like I just fall back on this idea that I can't fathom not being around, as no one really can. But I keep thinking about, what if I was like a squirrel, and that my life is just being a squirrel, and my life sucks.
Like you're stuck in a dead end job. You're going home to a wife that doesn't love you.
Yeah, like I mean, a squirrel is a metaphor for a man who's just squirreling things away for a rainy day. But I know it's like it's a thought that is never going to go anywhere, because it's not true. It's not true that you can transfer consciousness. But I don't know. It just fucks me up sometimes. I think I spend way too much time thinking about it.
I think someone tweeted the other day, and this was an image that I really liked, that you're a brain piloting a skeleton mech suit with meat armor. Like you're only in your head, right? But you're just like steering the bones around with your meat padding. And that's the kind of low rent, deep stoner thoughts that we like to bring to the Deep Thought podcast.
I love it. Here's the other thing. I love these. I love looking at old photos now of places that I've been. And there's like a Facebook group that I love called Adelaide Then and Now. And it has old photographs of, what's that? A Your House earthquake? That's one of those classic Christchurch earthquakes.
I think that's fireworks, because it's Guy Fawkes night tomorrow.
Happy New Year.
So it sounds like fireworks.
I was saying about before I was rudely interrupted by Guy Fawkes fireworks. That I love these photos of places that I've been in Adelaide. Oh my god, you just swallowed a yawn. I saw it, dude. You swallowed a yawn.
I did. It wasn't intentional. It was trying to be polite.
A yawn.
Next time I'll say, "What's that?" So you turn around.
I would have turned around.
Adelaide then and now.
Yes, Adelaide then and now. And it shows photos of places that I, like the photos of King William Road in like 1860. And I think I love those photos so much because it reminds me that people were here in the spot that I, have been in or I am in. People were here, and to them, their lives, you feel like your life will just go on forever. Like we're in our 30s now. We just feel like, we have memories of our childhood, but then we think about being 80 years old and it feels so far away. It feels like almost not real that it will happen, but it will happen. And it's happened to everyone ever in history. And people have thought the same thing that we have thought. Well, that I have thought. That they've been in their 30s, but it's been 1860. And they've thought, I'm a young, whippersnapper. Ugh, I don't know what they said. What is a whippersnapper?
I don't know. I also think that if you go back far enough, some people in their 30s would be like, well, I lived a long and prosperous life. But
they still talk like they were in the 80s.
I once ate an apple, and that was wonderful. I truly have been blessed.
But I mean, it's a good point. Like people didn't. I mean, if you lived to 50, you had a very good life. So I guess your expectations for life were significantly lower, and maybe that's part of the equation here. But I am constantly thinking about the past. I'm constantly thinking about people standing where I was standing and being reminded constantly of that life is finite. Am I doing anything about it? No.
But what can you do?
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You can live life to the fullest. And what does that mean? You can do things now. I don't want to go into what I was about to go into there, but it was going to be like one of those Instagram.
Yeah. Live, laugh, love.
Graphics. But seriously, dude, there's some truth to that. Live now, laugh now, love now.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm being serious, but I'm joking.
Buy a zoodle maker and really just get into zoodles.
Okay, we're joking, but Nick, we have 80 years on this planet. We have 80 years, maybe we have 100 years. Let's say 80 years of consciousness. And before then we had no consciousness, and after we have no consciousness. Out of all of the time ever, the way we act now does not match up with how ridiculous and how precious this consciousness is. If we lived our lives and then we died and then we got woken up for one day by Allah.
Robot
Let's
Jesus.
say Allah, turns out Allah was the right
Allah.
one.
Yep.
There you go. Oh, I bet not everyone would be surprised. Apart from Muslims, obviously. Christians would have been like, what? And Buddha.
Buddha would have been chill with it, to be honest. Buddha would be like, yeah, sure. Good for him.
No, Buddha would have been chill, but
What if it was Scientology? And you're like, fuck, the volcano?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And L. Ron Hubbard's face just appears at the pearly gates. You're like, what? Oh my God.
This seemed so unlikely.
Tom Cruise dies, but then it's just Tom Cruise, like in the Wizard of Oz style, with his face just going, what was I saying?
Imagine if you were woken up for one day.
Oh, thank you, dude. Thank you. Imagine if you just lived your life, and then at some point in the future, everyone gets woken up for one day, and you get to just reflect. You get to really reflect on the fact that you died, because that's the other thing. You don't realize. I mean, maybe if you have a really long, strawn out death,
Strawn
you realize
out?
that you're dying. I don't know why I said strawn. It felt right at the time.
Strung out and drawn out, and you said strawn out.
Shorn out.
Shorn out death.
Out.
That's when Sean comes and stabs us with a knife.
Yeah, which he will if we don't pay him for those graphics.
We don't. Yeah.
When we make some money off this podcast, we'll pay him. Okay. But if you have like a really long, shorn out death, then maybe you realize that death is coming to you. But for a lot of people, death just comes and then you're just like, you're out. You don't even get to appreciate the fact that you're dead.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. Yeah.
You don't know. But everyone else around you knows. So you don't actually get to fully take in you don't feel like to take in the context of life, because life is ripped away from you for a lot of people.
Well, that's the thing with funerals as well, right? Funerals are for the living. The person that's dead doesn't mean anything to them, right? Like you're not there for it, unless you do something like record a video message to be played at your funeral or something, and then you sort of like, yeah, okay, I get something from that, but only when I'm alive. It doesn't mean anything afterwards. So it's it's that part of that process, right?
And that's the funny thing about cemeteries. Like cemeteries are kind of a waste of space. I mean, there's nothing there for that, and we what we do is we take something that is meant to be a natural process, which is like decomposition, which basically the earth takes back. The earth takes your molecules back, your atoms back, right? And then instead of letting that happen, what we do is we plant concrete on top of it to make sure we have something forever.
Well, the bigger problem is embalming. Embalming is like that fluid. You're basically dumping chemicals into the ground, right? Like that's.
Well, who's been embalmed since the pyramids?
Everyone.
Do people get embalmed?
Everyone gets embalmed.
What's embalming? I have no idea.
Embalming
is that where they wrap you up in
no, you're thinking
cloth and put you underneath a pyramid?
You're thinking of vampires sucking blood.
Ah.
Turning into bats. No, embalming is where they drain your fluids out of the corpse and put it in sort of like a stabilizing fluid instead, so that it can remain vaguely intact. So if basically within, like, depends on what you died of, what the person's weight was, what the climate is, or a whole variety of factors. But if you just die, you could start decomposing sort of within 3 hours, and by about 3 days, you kind of like, shit's happening. You can't, you won't be holding together very well. So if you have things like funerals on the weekend, or that you need time for, or you want to mourn the body, like one of your religious rites or cultural ceremonies involves sitting with the dead person in a room for a few days, then they need to be embalmed so that they're basically intact, and that grieving.
But then
process
how long
can
does
continue.
that embalming keep for?
I'm not sure how long the embalming holds it off for, but effectively
it's like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and also it depends on like refrigeration and that sort of stuff as well. That doesn't stop it, and like you can't refrigerate someone forever and still stop decomposition. It will happen, but yeah. So yeah, that again is more about the living. So if it's like, well, I can't do the funeral in 2 days because I've got an uncle coming from overseas, well then they've got to be embalmed.
Yeah, but that's interesting because the actual tombstone, we have like some connection with the space that we feel like the body is in, but for most of these bodies in cemeteries, there's nothing there even resembling the person that you're like grieving after. So it's just kind of dumb.
But
I think in the future,
that person's remains are there, right? Like if you go to visit it, that is where what was them now is, right? Like you can understand why people go to
Sure.
that spot,
Sure. Sure. I do. I mean, I do. I'm not
even
saying
though
that.
we
I'm
we,
not
we
actually saying they're
acknowledge
dumb,
that
but
it's not like a consciousness. But
I'm just
it's
saying
still
in the
them.
future, when space inevitably becomes more precious, and as the populations grow, and as we civil like societies expand outwards, that I feel like cemeteries are going to be one of the first things to kind of go. And we're going to be like, okay, let's work out another more efficient way to deal with this. Maybe stack up, instead of leaving some valuable space. By the way, most cemeteries that I've ever seen have been in like close proximity to the city center, so it's like prime real estate.
But here's the thing, like I think cemeteries, if they weren't cemeteries, would still be parks, right? Like there is something to be said for green space in a suburb and in a community, and even if it's like real estate that could be used, I don't think it all just would be immediately snapped up for housing or construction, right? Because otherwise you just have endless monotonous buildings. So I feel like it is still sort of a green space purpose there as well.
Okay. What's the book?
So I actually got a book when we were writing the first season of Good Grief called Death and Dying in New Zealand, which is not always the cheeriest read, but an absolutely fascinating read. And it's basically a collection of small essays from a whole bunch of different people with different angles on funerals and death. So there's someone from a cemetery manager, there's one from an architect who designs funeral homes, people from palliative care doctors who are dealing with the people with terminal illnesses, a coffin club, people that make their own coffins, funeral directors, like a Maori funeral expert, coroners talking about what they discover in bodies, and social workers and journalists and grief experts and all kinds of things, and just a whole bunch of little essays about it all. And it is really, well, as it sort of says on the back cover here, we will all die, yet we don't talk about death and dying very much. Currently, and for the most part, a small group of people manage death for us behind closed doors. We're increasingly unlikely to know what options are available to us and those we care about, so how do we prepare? Are our collective and individual needs being met? And one of them here is space, land, and the city, right? Like, what do you do?
What's it say?
I mean, I'm not going to read a full essay out to you, but talking about
Read the whole essay.
I'm not. It's many pages, but talking about the needs for what do you do when you have 8 billion people? Where do you put them all? What do you do with it? Things like eco options. Can we, like, one of the upcoming technologies is dissolution? Like, can you dissolve people into like a liquid rather than burn them, which is very carbon intensive, or bury them, which is very space intensive? And one of the challenges that they're having is people don't like the idea of being turned into sludge, even though it's no different to being burnt or no different to being buried. No. There's a conceptual hang up when it comes to make me like a soft jelly and then like flush me away. The people don't like that.
No
vibe.
one likes slimy things.
No. So, but that is probably the most eco-friendly option coming in the future, right? So
interesting.
So it's a very interesting book, and I don't know how really accessible it will be to anyone listening, but I suppose if you're here in New Zealand, I can lend it to you. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting discussion out there, sort of in the margins about these kind of topics. But as you say, it's just still kind of taboo.
Yeah, it's kind of like death is kind of like shitting. Like everyone needs to do it, but no one likes to talk about it openly
bad analogy.
when it comes to it.
I love talking about shit. No. Honestly, like 80% of our conversations on the Good Grief Skype are just talking about what kind of poo we just did.
Is this real?
100% real.
Oh God, I can't stand it.
That's where you're squeamish?
I'm squeamish with blood. Any sort of bodily thing, I'm out.
But you're happy to talk about the
I hate it.
existentialism of our like meaningless existence in the blip of the universe and how we're all going to
No,
die and
I
we
love
don't
it.
know anything about it. But if I say I did a really
No,
nice
there's a smelly
poo
poo
earlier
poo.
today, yeah,
Get out of here.
God, he's retching. He's leant away from the microphone. Yeah.
I retch, dude. I retch. I also, you may not know this about me, but I faint when I see blood.
Interesting.
I'm a fainter.
You're a fainter?
I've fainted 4 separate times on the sight of blood.
Wow.
I
What?
know.
But not like that much. Like it doesn't take like a serious
No.
injury. Like it can be a little.
Okay, both times. Okay, so 2 times it's been when I've had a blood test,
Okay.
or I've had seen someone else get a blood test, and the other time it's been like other times it's been someone when someone's been injured and gotten lacerated,
Jesus.
not by me.
Can you hear those fireworks? It must be literally
I can. This
right next door.
sounds
I
nice.
can see it. It's fucking flashing on my
Well, could be
front yard.
gunshots.
It could be gunshots. I'm gonna close that window again.
I was gonna make a really bad joke there, but I won't.
Yeah. You're gonna say Alec Baldwin's around the corner.
Oh, that would have been good too. How crazy is that?
It's so fucking sad.
So sad, but also he's like not handling it well. Like in the sense that, from a publicity perspective, he's like actively retweeting articles that are absolving him of blame and posting things on Instagram that are like, going in defense of the producers and stuff. I'm like, dude, lay low. Don't say anything.
He's defending
when it comes
the
out with the
producers.
investigation. He was one of the
That's what I mean.
producers.
But like he's feeling like he needs to come out and wow.
He's like posting things saying that he's like reposting posts of other people that are saying, there was no problems on the set, blah blah blah. Like and he gave like a weird like pop up press conference on the side of the road in Vermont.
Yeah.
And his wife was like getting up in everyone's grill and filming the people asking questions. I'm like, what are you doing? Where is your publicist?
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway.
I am sympathetic because I have to imagine the kind of burden, the psychological burden of that, of being responsible for someone's
Absolutely.
death. It has to be crazy.
But
But at the same time,
no
I
one
think you're
is
right.
blaming him though.
No, but-
everyone, everyone's on his side. Everyone's kind of. I haven't seen any blame on him.
I'm
Everyone's
just saying that
sympathetic to him.
I'm not surprised if he's not handling it perfectly. Like I don't think you've really got the objectivity in that
Sure.
moment, do you?
Sure. I mean, imagine that. Imagine thinking it was a rehearsal. Imagine just thinking you're just going through the motions of a character, what you have to do in
Yeah.
the scene, and then all of a sudden, wait, and the psychological, like the brain freeze and malfunction of going, wait, what is happening when someone actually screams? Like on a movie set as well, where people are acting and reenacting and creating fake moments of reality for one of them to then turn into horrific reality. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. No, it is. It's just very sad, really. I imagine there will be public declarations as to what happened in the ensuing months, but it certainly feels like because there's been a vacuum when it comes to that kind of news. There's been space for all the speculation and the stuff to churn because there hasn't been an answer, right?
Yeah.
Um.
All right, and we solved death.
Well, we've fixed it.
There you go. Oh, I was just going to quickly ask you if you had any thoughts about what you wanted to be cremated or sludged.
Yeah, cremate
when
me.
You were dead.
Yeah, cremate me. Yeah, I don't need to be buried. I don't think anyone that's Oh God, those fireworks are so loud.
It's fine, dude.
It's a bit disconcerting. They must be
I
like
can hear them.
yeah, they're lighting up the whole straight. Like they must be immediately above us. Jeez.
Yeah, you can really hear them.
Yeah. Yeah, cremate me. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all good.
I mean, you're going to die before me, so...
I think historically we've said that is not likely to be the case.
I think I'm going to be one of those guys that just skirts through and it's like, oh, you smoked, you drank, you skydived.
Yeah. You lived your best life.
And yet you still lived to 100.
Yeah.
And Nick died at 35.
Oh, that's really so... That's
Guess how he died.
Rhino accident. Teasing a rhino.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to know.
And how many times have I told you not to tease rhinos?
Yeah. I guess I just want to see
30 times.
How close can I get? How many times can I pull on their tail?
You'll find out soon enough, Nick.
Total tange.
Tangerine.
We got a few tangents here. We're rambling, but do you have anything to say on Facebook? There's been a bit of talk lately about the Facebook name change, the Zuck kind of dead eyes, and then also like all the stuff about the algorithm. Do you know anything about this?
I know that they changed their name to Meta, and I heard some talk about them, I don't know, creating creating some universe they're going to take it to the next level.
Metaverse,
which kind of confuses me because it feels like everyone's jumping off the Facebook bandwagon. So I'm thinking, is this like a last ditch, attempt for survival? I mean, I have no idea. I can't watch the guy Mark Zuckerberg. When I see a video of his face, I'm just like, it's like, what's that Polar Express phenomenon that
the uncanny valley.
The uncanny valley. It's like he's kind of human and kind of not, and I can't look away. He's
got this kind of like stiff robotic plasticity where like he's got dead eyes and like a slightly awkward haircut, and it just seems like he's not quite human. I know exactly what you mean.
He's not human. And I can't look at him for that fact, but I
sent you a video which I might link in this chapter title, of a real slowed down version from that product announcement where he's trying to be human and then smile, and then it like his brain malfunction and it just drops to this like a dead face, and it's both hilarious and creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
and yet that's the take they use.
Do you ever wonder what he would be like if he wasn't a billionaire? Like, would he still be the same freakazoid?
He would have been arrested. He would have like crept into a shower and like spied on a woman and then been arrested and sent to prison.
He wouldn't.
Facebook was one of the hottest girls on campus. You can't say he didn't have problematic tendencies.
Look, he should have kept it at that. That's a simple, great idea. Hot or not.
Hot or not.
Everyone's on board with that. We're doing that with everyday life. Yeah. We're doing that with New Idea. I mean, he just found a way
He could own New Idea right now.
I know. But yeah, I can't look at him. So I haven't been really paying attention to it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Isn't it funny that now Facebook is like kind of like more of a boomer's social media? Because people, I mean, do you use Facebook? I don't really use it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone off it. I don't really post anything. It's more about Messenger. Like, I use Messenger a lot to keep in touch with people, but I don't really get much from the Facebook app that is of real interest.
No, because it used to be for me news.
Yeah, but then they,
in 2015, 2016,
yeah.
but then, like, Twitter is way better at that. For one thing, but then also Facebook, just like if you look at Facebook for news, it will just give you like a news article that's 3 days old, one that's 4 days old, one that was from 30 minutes ago. It's like, what are you like? There is no rhyme or it seems to be no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
to what you're providing me. Like, I'm here for the news, and you're giving me articles from 3 days ago.
Well, that was the thing about the algorithm that came out, because there's been whistleblowers talking about it, and the memo that came out a week or two ago was like Facebook admitting that core parts of its platform were hardwired to spread misinformation and divisive content, because that's the kind of thing which would propagate, and it basically let hate speech and misinformation grow on the platform because the basic functions of Facebook were not neutral. It was all about engagement and getting like comments and that kind of stuff. So the vitality, the recommendations, the optimizing for engagement are like a significant reason why all the negative and misinformation and that kind of thing flourished and caused all of those problems during the Trump administration era. But yeah, it's also a reason why I think sometimes you get 3-day-old articles pop up, because they're the ones that are having comments on it, or they're the ones which are, I don't know, working properly, like according to their fucked up algorithm. But they're in a very tricky sort of regulatory position at the moment. So the rebrand sort of does make sense, because it's not changing Facebook. It's just saying the company that was called Facebook that made the app Facebook is now a different named company, and Facebook's just one part of their portfolio. So like, I do get it.
Yeah. What, the rebranding?
Yeah, I do get. I mean, I don't think Meta's a great name, but I do understand why they are basically demoting it from being the figurehead to a core part of their services, in the way that Google failed but tried to do the same thing. And so there's like Alphabet, which owns Google, which owns YouTube, which owns, all those kind of different apps, and they sit beneath a subservient, overarching brand. So I think they're just trying to do the same thing.
Does Joe Blow know these names? Does it make any difference to
no
the every,
but they don't care about the
man or
average
woman?
person. So what they're doing this for investors, and they're doing this for politicians, basically. So it's to say, okay, we as Meta, we are going to invest in virtual reality and conferencing and the Oculus Quest and all of these other sort of moonshot ideas, and we're going to experiment in new places. And isn't that exciting? Back us there, while still keeping Facebook as its own brand within that company. And in the same way, I think they want to be able to separate from a regulatory perspective, so that like there's a lot of US investigation into these big tech companies at the moment, like Apple and Google and Amazon and Facebook is one of them. And I think because there's all of this investigation into what their algorithm has been surfacing and the ways that people have manipulated that data and used it to micro-target people and spread misinformation and that sort of thing, that they want to be able to separate their overarching brand with all of its subsidiaries, including Instagram and WhatsApp and everything, from the problems of Facebook, the platform, so that they can maybe escape some of that heat, or show that they're trying to up their regulations or their moderation and that kind of thing of those bad actors on their platform.
Yeah, well, it seems like somewhat of a temporary solution. Like, it'd be interesting to see in 10 years' time what is the social media landscape looking like.
I don't think there'll be
Facebook and Instagram.
Well, I just don't think there's space for any new upstarts to come in. I mean, maybe that's wrong. TikTok appeared out of nowhere, but Apple and Google not Apple because they're not in that space, but Facebook and Google, they have the means now to buy out anyone whose technology is good or who seems like it could be a competitor. So they shouldn't really have been allowed to buy Instagram, but they were allowed, and that's paid off marvelously for them.
Mm.
Joe Rogan got confused this week.
He gets confused a lot.
He leapt on an ad about the COVID vaccine rollout in Australia as an example of the dictatorship that we're all living in down here, only to discover it was actually a satire made for the ABC ad program Gruen.
It is funny how the US, especially, is viewing or has viewed the lockdowns here and the way we've handled COVID. They protesting in the streets of New York for Australia.
Really?
You know, have you seen this? There were
No.
protests in New York to save Australia
Wow.
from tyranny. Like in the US, they think that we're like being placed under some sort of authoritarian regime.
But that's just the sort of misinformation of the conservative news channels, right? Like they've all got that from some figurehead.
Well, what they were doing was they were circulating. It's like when Sydney's lockdown happened, they got some of the army to help. It wasn't to help enforce the lockdown, but it was to help. They use various. They help in various ways, but it was kind of spun in the U.S. media, in some of the U.S. media, as that the Sydney government is using the army now to enforce lockdown.
Yeah.
And basically to tell people to get back in their houses and stuff, which wasn't the case. They were helping with vaccine clinics and testing clinics and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some of it was maybe patrolling the streets, but it wasn't like, they were bashing people.
But that's
to
the
get
kind
back
of
in their
imagery
houses.
that those conservatives over there really get riled up by, right? Like the idea of that constitutional right to bear arms is in case the federal government comes for you. Right.
Yeah. Has Jacinda been under fire lately for something?
She's been a little bit.
Has she stopped? She's stopped people coming to her press conferences or something.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. It's possible. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a bit out of touch with it at the moment. I think there's been criticisms.
I'm out of touch. You're out of touch. Was that good?
I don't know the song,
Felt
but it felt like you were into it.
Don't be dumb other night. I'm out of touch.
I don't know the song,
Nick's
but it feels
out of touch.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna jump in.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't know the song or the lines or when to come in.
You don't know I'm out of touch?
I'm all out of love.
I'm
so lost without you.
I know you were right.
Yeah, is that the same song?
The 80s were a simpler time, weren't they? When
Yeah.
they could just have belters like that.
Yeah.
Just pounding out simple lyrics.
Back when the sax was a thing.
Yeah, remember when the sax got de-invented?
De-invented.
It got invented. It got invented in the late 1940s, I believe. And then it got de-invented in the 1996.
Right. No, because I
Yeah.
guess I haven't seen one since then. So you're probably right.
I think it's uninvented.
Uninvented. Yeah. Disinvented.
Yeah. So the sax no longer exists.
Yeah, it's one of those
Which
things
is
like the
crazy
dodo that
to
you
think
only see
about.
in textbooks. You sort of like you're studying it at
Yeah,
school and
it
you're like,
became
oh,
extinct.
whoa. Look at it's like a curvy
this?
trumpet. Weird.
Mr. Thompson, what's this?
Well, that's a saxophone, son.
Saxophone? What's a saxophone?
It's like a sort of like an extension
like a
of a
flute?
man's penis, but they sort of blow into it, and well, I guess it's just sort of the same thing, really, isn't it? Just swing it around.
Can I blow your saxophone?
Son,
I'd like to blow a saxophone.
Well, there are places you can go to where that kind of thing's allowed, but I'd say
Can we go someplace quiet? I like the idea of pedophilia, but it's not pedophilia because the kid's hitting on the adult.
There's a quote for the ages from Michael Zabrecki, 2021. I like the idea of pedophilia.
Edit that.
We should leave
Edit
that
that out.
leave that as it was.
It was in context.
There was some
in
context there, but I
context.
don't think we need to go through it.
Yeah, what about when the child hits on the adult? You never hear about that.
You never hear about it. Talked about it last week, didn't end up doing it, so I feel like it is now overdue. Michael, let's do a celeb net worth.
We sing this jingle, don't we?
I think we do, yeah.
All right, let me just sing it in my head, and then I'll get the tempo, and then I'll count us in.
Okay. last time you counted us in, you counted in at a tempo very different to what it needed to be.
No, this is the right tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Celebrity net worth. Celebrity net worth. How much was it worth?
I forgot the jingle.
That's all right. You went for a higher. I went for a lower. I think it'll still mash together nicely.
Nice.
This is a self-explanatory game. We'll just fire celebrity names back and forth and guess how much they're worth, and then verify it in the only way that we know how, by typing it into Google.
Yep.
Okay. You want to start us off? Throw one at me.
I'll start us off.
Okay.
Flavor of the month.
Uh-oh.
Everyone loves him.
Uh-oh.
From women to men, from teenage girls to teenage boys.
I don't know why you struggled to remember what word you were looking for there. You're saying Timothée Chalamet.
How did you know that?
I knew it. It's the flavor of the month. He's the flavor of the month.
He is. I mean, do you love the Chalamet?
I got no idea why he's popular. Nah, I don't get it.
You don't get it?
Nah.
I get it.
Nah. I haven't seen him in June. I haven't seen June, so I don't know. Maybe that was where I'll be won over.
But you didn't like Call Me By Your Name.
I didn't.
You're homophobic.
Because I don't like the idea of
that's
two
the
men
only
kissing.
reason you would.
Yeah.
Are both of those guys straight? Well, Armie Hammer's
Hammer.
like fucked up.
Yeah.
Where's he gone?
Where's he gone? What's he been up to?
So you don't like the Shamalamas? That's interesting.
I'm open to liking him.
What?
I just haven't been. I haven't found. He hasn't. I haven't found the role for him that I responded to.
I mean, he's in the new West End, so you got that to look forward to.
Look, I feel like that's going to be it. That's where I'll get on the train.
Yeah. But it is interesting about Shammers that he's like.
I believe the affectionate name
him.
is Lele.
Shemalele?
Yeah.
Or you just skip to
Lele. You call him Lele.
That's the truth. Okay. I think with Lele's.
You sounded very believable. Well done.
Awesome. I think with Lele's that he has universal appeal to women specifically. Specifically, his universal appeal is within women and within an age bracket
women
of about 14 to 65. I feel like he's all of women all in that category are attracted to Timothée Chalamet, which I think is an incredible achievement.
Yeah. That's a dynamic spectrum. He's a 4-quadrant hit. He's
also he's in, he's done a movie with Woody Allen, which was good. I liked it. He's talking to Larry David about doing a Larry David thing. He's in June.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a 27-year-old kid.
Yeah,
he's killing it. And he's an artist. He's an
Wait,
artist.
how old is he?
27?
He is not. No.
Celebrity age. Celebrity age.
Worth. How much are they old?
Let's guess his age. What's your guess?
I feel like you gave me nothing for that. I thought that was very good.
Oh, what'd you say? I think I was thinking about
how much are they old? I feel like it wasn't worth it.
You kind of flipped it on its head.
Yeah.
You kind of
I was waiting.
All right, what's your guess though?
Are we doing age?
Yeah. Sexy name. Timothée Chalamet, and also Timothy with 2 E's. Are you kidding?
Chalamet. I don't know. I feel like he's like 22.
Oh, really? All right. Am I looking this up?
Yeah.
25.
No.
Split the difference.
God. Okay.
Oh, sorry. No. Yeah, right. Google's wrong. No.
He looks like 16.
25? He does, though. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. He looks very boyish.
Okay.
But, all boys grow up.
You had that stitch on a pillow. All boys grow up.
Timothy.
Net worth. Okay. I reckon he's still on the low end. He's clearly about, I'd say 11 million.
What?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
He's got to be. He is the hottest ticket in town. I'm gonna go 60 mil.
60. You think he already has $60 million?
I think his net worth is 60 mil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look it up. Tell me.
So what was yours? 11.
11.
11. Timothée Chalamet. Net worth 10 million.
Yeah, fucking ace.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
We're playing strip celebrity net worth, so take your top off.
I will take off. Shit. I have nothing.
You're already naked from the waist down, so you really have no cards left to play.
Yeah, I'll take my shorts off. How about that? And I actually will take my shorts.
No, please. Okay, I regret this request. Whoa.
There
Gosh,
you go.
really endearing yourself to your new
I
housemates.
don't lose anymore.
Yeah. Ugh. Why are they so pink?
It's actually salmon.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
What do you got for me, big guy?
Okay. I'm gonna go a different direction here. John Mulaney.
Interesting.
John Mulaney.
Soon to
Very
be
well
father
regarded.
John Mulaney.
Yes, with Olivia Munn.
By the way, can I say something about John Mulaney?
I would love it if you said something
I
about
know-
JM. About the Lele.
I know it seems
Everyone's Lele.
I know it seems like he's fine.
He's definitely
But
not.
I don't think anyone has come out of it, gone into rehab, gotten divorced, jumped straight into a new relationship, gotten someone pregnant, and is fine.
Yeah.
He's not fine.
No. It's a bit sad. And I'm kind of like, I'm on
But
board
he's
with
touring.
Seth Meyers, like, as a good friend, sort of supporting him, having him
Yeah.
on. He had Olivia Munn on the other day. But I am a bit
Yeah,
worried for
saw
him
that.
still.
It's too quick.
Yeah.
But
I hope it works.
I've heard a few comedians that have seen him perform in some of the clubs and working out a special, and they say that he seems like he's all right, but everyone's just kind of like, ugh,
Well, yeah.
we don't want to go there. Anyway, Mulaney's, I'm gonna go.
He was on SNL. He's a touring artist.
Yeah,
Does have a
couple of
drug
specials
problem.
on Netflix. Yeah, that'll lead into it. Cocaine's a
It's a
expensive
pricey
drug.
sport.
I'm gonna go 4 mil.
4? No. No, he's
lower?
worth 15.
You think he's higher than Shamalama Bing Bongs?
Absolutes. Lele definitely worth more than Lele.
Interesting. All right.
Is it up to me to look?
I'd
this
like
time?
to know. Yeah, I'd like to know your reasoning behind that. Like,
I feel like he's
Chalamet-
he's older. He's held down significant jobs. He's toured the country and sold out shows.
What do you reckon the wage is good at SNL?
No, but think
Do you reckon
of
it's $1
Well,
million
he did it for
a
many
season?
years. Not for him. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's look it up. John Mulaney, net
Average
worth.
wage on SNL.
Oh, 6 mil. 6 mil. You're close to that time.
0 for 0.
No, I got the first one right. Oh, you're saying
Didn't I
that
get the second
you're
one
not
right?
counting yourself either. You said 4. You got 6. I'd give that to you.
Yeah, I get it. Well, you said like 20 million or something.
I know, but you said 0 for 0. I got the first one right.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. I just rounded down.
Okay.
Okay, next. Next one. Oh, here's one. Here's very in the news a lot lately.
Yeah.
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears.
Yeah, remember her? She did "Give Me Babies One More Time."
Yep. Toxic.
And
A fucking banger.
Toxic Masculinity.
Yep.
And
Well, that's-
I'm a lucky girl
She's so
because
lucky.
I found Mr. Right.
She's a
Lucky,
star.
lucky, lucky.
That's the second time today I've sung that song.
Wow, that was one of the first singles / albums that I bought on tape.
On
Was
cassette.
Britney Spears and
Wow.
on cassette.
Wow.
Yeah.
Britney Spears. This is going to be interesting. She's been in conservatorship, so theoretically, some of that money should have been going in the bank, not disappearing. Should all be accruing to her. But how much of a cut were they taking?
Yeah.
Daddy's been a bad boy. Daddy's been taking some of that money.
Nick, a reminder, I've got my shorts off. Don't make me aroused.
I reckon she's worth 80 mil.
80 mil? I'm going to go $150 million.
Okay. Hit me up.
I'm swinging big.
Yeah.
Britney Spears' net worth. Well, it doesn't give it to you right away. I have to click a link. That's annoying. I hate clicking links. Sorry, I'm actually having to scroll here.
Do I need to do it?
Just scrolling. Maybe you should do it. Maybe we ought to. I mean, I typed in celebrity net worth / Britney Spears and nothing.
70 million.
Oh.
I said 80.
I said
You said
75
150.
million.
No, you didn't.
No. Okay.
80.
You heard
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That seems about right because that's what I thought.
There you go.
Okay.
Should we do one more?
Well, yeah,
Or we're
because I'll
doing
get a second.
threesies?
I'll do. Yeah. Well, I've got one to make it 2 each. But I think if you get this, you still can't win. So it's ultimately futile, like life.
Thanks. Tying it back into death.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get political. Hillary Clinton.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. Is she dead?
She's not. She's still around.
Is she?
Yeah.
All right. Hillary Clinton.
Lala.
Clinton. I mean, well, she made all of those. I mean, the pedophile ring that she's been operating for many years is lucrative.
Yeah.
Obviously. Otherwise, why would you run it?
Why would you collect all the baby's blood if you're not going to on-sell it, right?
So I'm going to go 250 million.
That's exactly what
On
I was
account of
thinking. I was thinking 250 million. We're so in sync.
Really?
Yeah.
We are so in
Okay,
sync.
here we go. I'm going to say 251. I'll say 251. We'll see.
There you go.
We'll see how we go. You
But
ready?
is it the Clintons? Because
Well-
it's the Clintons. Because they share a bank account, probably.
I don't know. I feel like the value that'll
And
come
Bill's
up
got
is
all
just
that
what
Epstein money.
we'll just have to come for. We'll just have to go for the number that comes up on the screen, right? It's just this is the science. This is how it works. Oh, 120 mil. 120 mil.
Oh, really?
You snuck in. Yeah, you snuck in.
Uh,
Yeah, but I wonder if I look up Bill Clinton, what will it say?
it's got to be 90% on top of that.
120. So what? Do you reckon they're splitting it, or do you reckon they're each worth 120?
I reckon they've got. It's all the same.
To date, Bill and Hillary have earned more than $250 million from speaking engagements, book advances, royalties, investment income, and consulting fees. In recent years, the couple's earned 10 to 30 million per year.
Well, that's the thing about being president is that you make what 500K
Yeah.
a year unless you're Trump, and then you generously donate it all to charity.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or back to the government. But then after that, then you can make. She was charging extraordinary amounts, like $500,000 per speaking event.
So
Just to give a
Hillary
talk.
released 8 years of income tax returns in 2016, and it showed that in 2014 they made $28 million, mostly from speaking fees. In 2015 they made $10 million, $6 million of which was speaking fees. So,
I mean, think about Obama. Obama is absolutely swimming. Dude, like, he's making more money now than he was as president. His book went #1.
he's
Michelle's got Becoming. She's got a #1 bestseller.
he's
They
worth
are
he's worth
absolutely swimming.
he's worth less than the Clintons, 70 million.
Obama's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like 20
He's
years younger.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to know more celebrities' net worth, then there are plenty of episodes in which we play this exact game. You'll find them all in the Deep Fort feed, which can be accessed in your podcast player of choice, or at deepthought.podbean.com, which has been recently jazzed up. So go check it out if you haven't recently. We're also on Facebook, but maybe we shouldn't be, or on Twitter if you want a notification of an episode going live. Plus, we've got an Instagram, which is occasionally filled with clips and other bits of information. And our famously catchy jingles are at the SoundCloud. Plus, as always, if you want to contact us, send an email to deepthought@gmail.com, and we will read it out on the show, most likely. Probably. We haven't done a mailbag in a while, but I promise you that we do. And that's the end of that. Michael has continued to piss, but he has his headphones in, so he can hear me say that he spilled a little bit, and he should probably wipe that up off of the seat, because it's a shared space, and that's a little bit rude.
Did you do the outro?
Yeah.
I actually could hear everything.
I know. Yeah, that's fine.
It's funny.
Thank you. I try to keep it peppy.
So, you've got a story.
I got a story.
And boy, do I love a story.
I know you like a story. You like it when things happen in my life that I can tell you, because not always out there getting the same kind of feet on the ground, people of interest kind of stories that you do, treading the streets, vox pops, interactions with society. Yeah. I'm not often out there in the same way, but I got a story. Yeah. I got a story, and I think it deserves to be shared.
I can't wait. Hit me.
So I moved in to a new house a few months ago with my boyfriend KC. We've been living here by ourselves. It's very nice. It's an older house, different side of town, sort of like a wooden cottagey sort of thing. And 2 weeks ago, we were getting ready for bed. I'd done some washing. I'd hung out some washing on like one of those inside washing dryer racks, like to just put things on a rack and let it dry. Had some towels on there. We had it in the living room just by our bedroom door, and got into bed, just sort of lying there waiting for death, and we heard a thump outside, just like
fireworks.
Just a little. It sounded like something hitting the floor, and looked at each other, and I thought, oh, what was that? That's a weird kind of noise. And they're trying to listen and see if we could hear anything else. Couldn't hear anything, and sort of concluded, well, it sort of sounded like if someone had dropped a towel on the floor. That kind of like the garmenty kind of hitting carpet with a bit of a solid thump. So probably maybe just brushed.
Like a thud or a thump?
Just like a little, like I don't know if this is the right sound, but I'm going to give this a test. I'm going to drop this book on the carpet, and we'll just see what it sounds like.
Okay.
That's almost a little bit little bit harder than I would have thought.
Thud.
Just a little bit of a thing.
So slightly less
smaller,
hard than that thud.
Sort of, but you got a vibe, right? And so I listened, couldn't hear anything else, and I sort of thought, well, I wonder if when we walked into the bedroom, we brushed past the clothes rack and just dislodged, like a towel or something, and it very, very slowly got to a point where it was slipping and just fell to the floor and couldn't hear anything else. Alrighty, okay. That's that.
What time was this?
Maybe like 11:30, 12. Listening, couldn't hear anything else. And go to bed, get up in the morning. In fact, KC's out first, and he goes, "Whoa! Come look at this." Get out of bed. Dart over into the living room and look on the dining table, where we have a fruit bowl, and the fruit bowl is absolutely massacred. There is a banana there which looks like it has been exploded. There is shrapnel of rind everywhere, bits of banana missing. Like, it looks like, I don't know, it was hit by like a very small missile, and we're looking at going like, that's an odd.
What else did you have? Bananas?
There was just bananas in there at the time. It was just banana, right?
So you guys only eat bananas?
Well, that's where we keep apples in the fridge. This is
at the
sort
time
of unrelated, yeah.
Sure.
So go into the kitchen and look in the kitchen, and we have a green waste bin on the counter, and it's ajar, and there's like an apple core out, and there's coffee grounds on the counter, and this kind of thing. We're like, huh, that's interesting. Go into the bathroom. There are all these little black pellets on the ground. There's a couple of black pellets in the shower, and in fact, there's like a gross kind of yellowy liquid in the shower as well. We're looking around and thinking that's not unusual. That looks like shit. And have a look up close. Open up the Google. Yeah, that's rat shit. There's rat shit and rat piss in our shower. And a fucking massacred.
Googled, what does rat shit look like?
Yep.
Or what did you Google?
Yep. Identify rodent droppings, I think was something like that.
So you had a hunch that this was a
Had
rodent.
a hunch. Looked around.
Okay.
Thought, okay, something's got into the fruit. Something's got into the greens. Something has crawled around inside the house. Best guess, mice or rat. And it's a fucking rat. Right? We're like, we've had a rat. We've had a break-in. And the burglar has come for our fruit. And that's quite a disconcerting, like, intrusion as well. Because there's, like, piss everywhere. And we're thinking...
Sure.
So
bananas are expensive.
And they are. We have a shower cubicle, which is a full glass door, right? And a completely sealed, other than over the top, completely sealed, like, pod. It's not a bath one with, like, a plastic... drag curtain rail sort of style thing. It's like it's its own pod thing. There is shit and piss inside the shower cubicle. And we're thinking, how did it get in there? Did it come up? So we have like one of those big flat drain covers that hide, like that sits on top of a moderate sized hole. And the cap was loose off it because it doesn't drain properly if we put the cap on. So we're looking at this kind of, I'd say, toilet roll sized dimension of a hole and thinking, did it come up from the fucking drain and then climb over the 2-meter wall glass door and then get out into the kitchen, rummage around, smell the fruit, fucking go nuts and fuck off again,
have a shower,
and then have a shower and piss everywhere? And so we called the landlord, and the landlord came round. We deal with a private landlord. Landlord came round.
You called the landlord immediately, like that night, or did you wait till the morning? You called him up at 12 a.m.?
So this was the morning. So we got up in the morning to discover this. So the night before we'd heard the thump, and then in the morning we got up and saw all this mess, right? Gotcha. So it had been 8 hours. So we messaged, and he came round. And no, in fact, we didn't message the landlord at that point. We just heard it. We cleaned it up, got rid of the mess, and sort of thought, well, let's hope that doesn't happen again. The next night, we are at battle stations now. We have shut the door from the kitchen to the living room. No access to the fruit bowl. We've got the green bin stuff out of reach. Nothing here to tempt. We've put the cap on the shower drainage pipe, so hopefully it can't get up there anymore. Let's see what happens. Go to bed. 1:30 a.m. Casey nudges me. He says, "Can you hear that? There is a scratchy, scratchy, scratchy,
scratchy, scratchy,
scratchy, scratchy, scratchy, scratchy noise." And I listen, and it's going scratch, 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 scratch. And this is like kind of horror movie stuff, right? So we're like, do we go and confront it? Do we go and see what's going on? Do we
talk to it?
Or is that just giving it what it wants? Are you just opening? If it's behind a closed door, why would you go open the door, right? This is horror movie 101. It's a terrible idea.
Sure.
So
at this point, it's a rat, and you know that rats.
We have a sneaking suspicion, right? But we haven't seen it in action. It could be.
It still could be
for instance, a murderer that's dropping rat poo
with
everywhere.
A fetish for bananas.
Yeah.
So
I grab my phone. I hit record. Obviously, the police are going to want to see this. And then we
absolutely
turn on the lights, look in the living room, no sign of anything. Open the door to the kitchen. Scratch, 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 scratch. We look around. It's like, where the fuck is this thing? Where is it? It sounds like it's coming from behind the dishwasher. A dishwasher is like built into the cabinets, and it's got like a cutlery drawer sort of immediately above it. And we can just like, we're listening and we're hearing. It's like, where's that coming from? And
Getting a knife and
it's
fork.
like a getting a knife and fork. So we're creeping up to it and looking at it, and it's like, it's definitely in there, but I don't know how there can be anything in there because what's in there is a dishwasher and like a cutlery drawer. So I didn't think there was like other space, but it's definitely somewhere in that vicinity. Maybe it's in like a wall behind that wall there, or stuck in a cavity or something like that. And Casey opens the cutlery drawer very slowly, and I'm like, don't do it, you're gonna die. And nothing jumps out or anything. And look inside the dishwasher, it's a solid dishwasher, like there's nothing in there, but you can just hear this noise and it stops. I'm like, oh, there's something there. And then just can't see anything or hear anything, and there's no mess around, so we just go back to bed. And I get up the next day, and I'm going to the gym, so I like make some breakfast, stir my pre-mix into the orange juice, that kind of stuff, go about my business, get back, and in fact I'm at the gym, I think, and Casey texts and says it was in the cutlery drawer, and he's got a picture.
But you checked the cutlery drawer.
Yeah, he's got a picture. They've bitten the top off the fucking tongs. It's eaten plastic tongs. It's eaten the plastic stirring spoons. It's eaten the wooden measuring spoons. There's piss.
Why?
There is piss on all the cutlery. And I think I ate rat piss. I definitely ate rat piss. Because I was in that cutlery drawer. I made breakfast that morning. I definitely put rat piss in my mouth. I grabbed
rat piss and shit in your pre-workout.
I made breakfast and I used cutlery that was covered in piss. 100%. 100%.
Why was it chewing a fork?
I don't know, because rats just eat anything. Rats will eat anything.
Even forks?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I thought rats were smart.
Nah, they'll eat anything. So
like, what's that?
At that point, we called the landlord. Landlord came round and put out traps everywhere. You know what? I might be wrong. We might have actually told the landlord on the first day, and there might have been traps out the first night, and there was nothing there. So we heard the scrabbles and things, but there was nothing anywhere. And I think he'd put some traps in the roof and around the place, but nothing had come of it. So the second night he comes back, he puts bigger fucking traps out everywhere. There's like peanut butter lathered on it because that's apparently what they love to eat. And he also put poison everywhere. And we thought, okay, let's get this guy, right? And we had to throw away cutlery. We're washing the entire cutlery drawer, like every item that you have, real pain in the ass, and throwing out food, all this shit, right? It's becoming a bit of a headache. Third night, traps are out everywhere. Nothing. Don't hear anything. Okay. And that happened to be the last night before we went away. So I was heading off on a road trip. We were both heading off on a road trip for just a couple of nights. That's going to
be so unsettling, knowing that you're just leaving a living creature in your house.
Yeah. Heading off a 2-night trip, heading up to Nelson, hung out with friend Sam, who you know well from Melbourne times. Nice little getaway. And our landlord said,
but constantly thinking about your rat.
And the landlord saying,
the whole time,
I'll check in over the weekend and I'll see if anything's in the traps, right? Like I'll keep an eye on it. So nice trip. Don't hear anything from the landlord. Assume all is good. Nelson, for frame of reference, is about 5.5 hours drive away. So top of the South Island. We did a few days away, spent some time there on the last day, and then drove our way back. Not at the end of the world kind of drive, but also like 6 hours in a car, and it's the end of a long weekend. A lot of traffic at the end as you get close to Christchurch. Just getting that little bit sort of tired. You're ready to be home. You want to unpack your stuff. Just relax at the end of a nice trip. Get home. Go out to the front door. and hear this. That's interesting.
Was the TV on? TV left on?
I'll go grab my keys.
Do it again. Do the sound again. Did you leave the sink running? Maybe.
Open the door. Our door. We go in from the side. It leads into the kitchen. Step into the kitchen. Splash. Stepping into water. Turn and look in the kitchen. Look at the dishwasher. Look at the kitchen sink. There is water firing out from underneath the sink.
No. The tap was left on.
No, not the tap. There is a puddle of water all over the kitchen floor. It's at a slope and it's flooding into the bathroom. There is about probably 10, maybe 15 centimeters deep of water sloshing around in our kitchen and bathroom floor. It's probably been leaking, I'd say, for 6 to 12 hours. We open up the under sink cupboard where this is coming from, and spraying out of a hole underneath there is a hose to the dishwasher. And we're looking at it and we're like, what the fuck? The rat had eaten the water hose.
No.
The rat had bitten into the water pipe and cut through, and it sprayed out for hours. I was stepping into into serious puddles of water in the kitchen, and it's spraying everywhere. It's spraying on the electrical sockets. It's spraying all over our under sink supplies, like the paper towel and all of our cleaning stuff.
Oh dear. Oh no.
And looking at it thinking, oh fucking hell. So grab a mop, reach under the sink, very carefully turn off all the electricals, and then reach in and isolate the water, the pipe heading to the dishwasher, and manage to turn it off. So it's not spraying anymore. Call the landlord. Okay. To his credit, landlord's here in like 45 minutes. Like, he comes basically straight over and rips out the dishwasher. The fucking dishwasher pipe has teeth holes in it. Like, this rat has gone nuts trying to get at the water, and it's just exploded everywhere. And the hypothesis is, if a rat eats rat poison, apparently what happens is they get super thirsty. One of the effects of the poison is they go crazy wild for water. And it was just trying to get a drink, and in doing so, flooded out our entire kitchen. So we threw out paper towel, but it also flooded into the bathroom. It killed our scales, like our electric scales. We had to get new scales. Spent the next hour and a bit mopping everything up, like proper water, throwing it all into the washing machine, clearing out all the stuff from under the sink. The dishwasher's getting ripped out, and it's all damp and all flooded behind the dishwasher. Pulling all that out, there needs to be a new pipe replaced for it, because that's how
is this all getting replaced by the landy?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so he's looking at there, and he's having a little bit of a like, oh my god. But we were then without
what's the damage? What's the
money? I don't think it's like. Honestly, we're pretty lucky. If we'd been there the next day, I think it would have been significantly worse, because it would have been all over the carpet, all into the living room and that kind of thing. There's no real drainage in those wet areas, so it would have flooded stuff seriously.
Right.
But thankfully not too bad. But we probably threw away $50 to $100. So not crazy. Not enough to like get
food.
Content of like supplies, of the scale, of that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
and what's your
cutlery,
landlord up for? Is he up for a couple of G's?
I don't know. It depends whether any of that starts to be like mold and damp and that sort of thing. He's an electrician, so he can replace some of that stuff himself. So he got a new pipe, and that wouldn't have been too expensive, that sort of thing. But
it's crazy that one rat can cause so much havoc.
Yeah. Like all of the food, all of the cutlery we had to replace, the scales and the cleaning supplies. Yeah, probably about $100, I'd say. So not crazy, but also like just not what you want to walk into after a trip. Like step into the kitchen and it's like slosh. And so
Man,
then didn't
that
have a
feeling
dishwasher
of,
for a
like,
few
when you-
days. Like all of the towels in the
When
house had been washed, and so they're sitting like all sprayed out. We don't have a cutlery drawer in the kitchen. There's traps everywhere because we're still laying them to hope, if he's coming back, that he'll get sucked into it. Yeah, haven't seen it since. It seems like the poison got him, and it then either like committed suicide by drinking water and being flushed away or something. But
So you still haven't found
a body. No culprit. He could still be out
Wow.
there growing immune to the poison and coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he died of thirst.
I hope he died a horrible, painful death.
I hope he got Me Too'd by another rat.
This
and
is just
then
cancel
had
culture
to-
going wild.
This is cancel rat culture,
Yeah.
but justified.
Yeah.
I hope he.
He was the Harvey Weinstein of rats.
It's funny because he's like just trying to survive. Like,
Yeah.
so if you see it from the rat's perspective, he's just looking for food. He sees a bunch of bananas. He thinks this is amazing,
Yeah.
and then he goes looking for a tasty beverage to wash it all down with.
Yeah.
And then what does he get? Rat poison.
Yeah.
And then once he eats that, he's going, well, I need a nice cold glass of wine.
Yeah.
This would be delicious. Goes searching for that. Dies of thirst.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, on the other, if you see it from the human's perspective, you've been on a lovely trip. You're coming home though. You're tired. You're hungry. You're just looking forward to getting back to home base.
Yeah.
What do you come back to? Noah's Ark.
Yeah. What?
The flood.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like he knew what he was doing because he was pissing on everything. You don't need to do that if you're just coming in for a snack. Like that's
Do you
That's
think
not-
that was a power move?
a power move, and that's a little bit disrespectful. Like if I'm going to get a souvlaki, I don't piss in the deep fryer.
I mean, I have, but I wouldn't do it ordinarily.
No.
No, you do it to make a point. It's a hate crime, is what it is.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. Good story.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel seen.
You should feel heard too, because I heard you, bitch. I heard you. Oh. Shouldn't do that again. I think my black woman voice is probably my most offensive.
Is that
Not
meant
my-
to be a
not
black
my-
woman?
Yeah, it was. No,
Okay.
that was,
Well,
that's
that-
what I was
I think
picturing
what
when I
might
said
save you was the fact that it sounds nowhere close to it. So I think no one can
it.
reasonably
That was my
accuse you.
Russian man.
You're so far
I was
off
doing a
that
Russian-
it's actually not offensive.